There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. See if those people come on. Boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. It looks like it's good. Test, test, test. Yep, there you go. Hey, Gianna. Hope everybody's doing good. I see some people are starting to come on for Mini Bike Monday. Brian, how are you? Anthony, it's nice to do this on a Monday, right? Um, this was requested by a subscriber because he always gets to miss the Two Stroke Tuesdays. So I said, you know what? I will do a Mini Bike Monday. So I figured that'd be cool. This weather has been crappy. Oh, it's so frustrating. I want to get out there and start turning some wrenches, but it has been a crazy week, even though. I'm going to move this light real quick because it's kind of like in my face. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. Steven, how are you? Anthony. Yeah, the weather is crazy all over the place. It has been absolutely nuts. It's either 1,000 degrees out, of course, it's exaggerated, or it's pouring torrential rain. Nice. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, you want to keep those tools. You want to get that in there. I got some cool stuff to talk to you guys about tonight, and we're going to do some tech on it. And Brian, here's another tool that you should have. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you that tool as well. And we're going to be talking a lot about. I get a ton of emails, a ton of text messages, a ton of everything. I mean, I'm open to you guys. I'm available, so you guys can talk with me, chat with me. Kevin, I really need some help, and that's what this channel is about: is getting your bikes up and running. And part of that is I have to respond to you guys' messages when you guys text me or call me or email me or whatever the case may be. I do my best to get back to you guys. Some of you guys are on my Facebook. Some of you guys are on my what do you call Instagram. So I mean, you guys are. There's many ways of communication, and of course, Two Stroke Tuesdays, Me Bike Mondays, Wheelie Wednesdays, Full Throttle Fridays, and sometimes a Twist and Throttle Thursday. All right, so we got a lot of different. Sometimes this channel goes throughout the week. We are still a growing channel, so that's a good positive thing. But trying to nail down what is the best day, what's the best time, all that, what works for everybody. So, and of course, I'm Eastern Standard Time. People are on Central Standard Time, and you guys get the idea. Lemonade, guys, I love lemonade. So, with that said, I'm trying to make sure I keep in contact with you guys and answer your questions. And I'm still getting a metric ton of people destroying flywheels and that sort of thing. So I'll be talking a little bit about that, and I got some stuff to show you guys. So it'd be pretty cool. So hope everybody's doing good, and your projects are doing good. I hear my goon. Yeah, just heard him go out there. I know, right? Who doesn't love lemonade? Exactly. New tire for my 77 KU100 last week. When you have a old tire that is just crusty and hard and doesn't want to flex and move, not only that, it's dangerous because tires are supposed to flex when you're going around a corner, and when they're like basically driving on a round brick, it does make cornering a little bit more difficult.
I want to say hi.
Yep, come on, come say hi.
Hi. Oh.
Hey, you just hit my subscriber in the head. Hey, you can't do that to people.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, all right, there you go. All right. So, with that said, you want to definitely, Stephen, get those tires. Check the front tire. Make sure the front tire moves nicely, is flexible as the back, because traction's everything when you're on a bike. Some cool things I wanted to show you guys, and I'm sure you guys seen them in my recent videos. These are spark testers. Let's see if we can put them up a little bit better than that. And when you basically what you do is you put this end right here on your spark plug, and you put the coil wire on here, and then you kick the bike over, and this right here will flash in orange like a light. There's a light in there. You see it? Well, you can't see it right now because it's not lit up, but no batteries or anything. But when you kick it up, this will flash. They make two different versions of it, one with a 90 degree and one with a straight boot. And I'll tell you, these things come in extreme handy when you're working on motors. I've got two of them because most of the time I'm working on like a V-twin lawnmower or whatever. And you can use either one of these on your bike, so neither one is better than the other. And these are about $8 each over at Harbor Freight, so they're not too bad. They're crazy, and they're one of those tools where these right here will really help you. And they're flexible, they're compact. I mean, you can see how, put it in my hand. Yeah, it's not very big at all. So these come in handy. That's good. Yeah, if they're flexible, that's good. That's a good thing to have. Because, like I said, that flex when you're going around corners and up over things, you don't want those things to blow out. So, yeah, definitely a good thing to have that. So, yeah, spark testers are a good thing to have. And I want to talk to you guys about the good almighty flywheel. All engines have them. This one right here is one off of one of my bikes. It's the 4-magnet flywheel. These are extremely hard to find. They are rare and hard to find. You want to know why? Because these only come on a CDI bike. Okay? This is the CDI flywheel. The thing is, they don't go, and you never have to remove them because there's no points. So that's what makes them hard to find, because they're always still attached to the bikes. They don't go. How do I get these? Everybody asks me, Kevin, how do you get these? I buy junk bikes. I buy a bike that may be wrecked, been left outside for 100 years, and, well, that's where this one came from. But been left outside for a very long time. These are very hard to find, especially on eBay. They barely come up. And when they do, everybody goes for them and tries to get them. So, very hard to find. But that's not the reason. I call these right here windows. So we're going to pretend this is for points, okay? And a lot of people are going to replace the points. Here's what I've been noticing. What people do is they take a flathead screwdriver and they stick it in the window to hold it. It jams it up so they can take the nut off. Then they replace the points and condenser, put it all back together, jam it back in, and tighten it back up, and then they can't figure out why their engine has no spark. Kevin, I did exactly what you said. I don't understand why I have no spark. I'm going to show you why. Because when you jam it through the window, you take a risk of scratching the coating off these charge coils. Now, there are two for lights. So let me put this like this. The heavier windings are for the lights, and then this one up here, the thin one, that's for your ignition. Okay? If you scratch that or put a gouge in it, you're going to create what they call high resistance. Okay? This is not bare copper wrapped around in circles. No. Each one of these strands is coated in a coating prior to being coiled. So even though they look bare, they're not. There's actually a thin layer of insulation around each one of those windings. These wires are not touching another, even though they're up against each other. It's because of that coating comes in between them. It's like almost like an epoxy. And on this one right here came off of, I believe it was Aaron's bike. But you can look, I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a right there. See that scratch? That's a short. I know, it looks so small. You see it better on the light coil, too. See the light coil? See that line right where my fingernail is? Right there? That's also a short. That's why the lights and the ignition failed on this bike. Because of this. Or whatever else they put in there to stop it. That is why that's dangerous. You want to use a piston stop. Or a shoelace, as I taught you guys in those videos. Make sure you do that. Now, on these bikes, The older bikes required a tune-up, where the new bikes don't. This is where another part where people get confused. And I know this is repetitive because I talk about it all the time. Hey, Frank, when you're working on these bikes, it is imperative to do a tune-up at least every other year. And you plug as needed, okay? What is a tune-up? Back in the old days, back in the 70s, not the 80s, but 67, 50, 67, right from when vehicles were made, all the motorcycles, all the cars, all the trucks had what they call points. When you went to a mechanic, they would change the points, the condenser, the plug wires, and the plugs in your car, and check the filters. And if you need filters, they put them in it. That was a tune-up back then. Okay. These bikes, these KEs, the KDs, the KMs, have the same components. Points, condenser. These are your tune-up parts. You have to change them at least once every other year for them to work properly, to be maintained. A lot of people don't do that. What they'll do is they'll buy them. Hey, Larry. They'll buy the points and they'll keep in a bag, and then when they go, they replace them. One of the most intimidating parts to change is the condenser because it's soldered. But I have a whole video on that. So if you look up the ignition, you'll find that in there. But that's part of your tune-up. These bikes are not designed when what do you call it there? When there's no spark, to replace the coil. The coils on these bikes do not go. They do not go. I, in fact, did a video on trying to short one out with a 12-volt battery. And these are a 6-volt system. Okay? I tried to short one out, and I couldn't do it. It still worked. And I did a video on that. So these charge coils, they last the life of the bike. You never have to replace them. Same with your ignition coil. Like I said, I tried to short them out with a 12-volt battery. I mean, I hooked one up to one end and one up to the other, and I couldn't get it to pop. It got warm, but didn't pop. So your alternator that charges your battery and your little battery doesn't put out enough power, enough current to blow a coil or that charge coil. Okay, remember that. So all you really need to do, don't overthink it, just buy the points and condenser, and you're good to go. Yep, filter, spark plug cap. Yep, adjustment fluid. Yep, exactly. Keep up with those tune-ups. Keep checking your air filter. Make sure you. And the other thing that goes on these bikes that is not really mentioned a lot about is the packing material in the exhaust. Love your channel. Thanks for all your info. You're welcome, Andrew. You're very welcome. I'm happy you're here, and happy to share all this information with you guys. It's a real blessing to me. I also want to show you guys another no-no, big no-no. And I'm going to show you guys why it's a no-no. Cheapen out. I call it cheapening out. Because this tool right here is what a flywheel removal tool looks like. And this is one of my favorite tools because it does the smaller bikes, like the KV75s, and it does the, what do you call it, KD80s, the KM100s. And these are reverse threads, okay? So if you look inside here, here's how you use this. You put this in, and you turn it, rotate it backwards. So this is reverse thread, okay, and that sits in there like that. Then when you tighten up this bolt right here, it actually pops it off because it comes to the center there. Now see how that is nice and perfect centered in there? That is a very important part I wanted to show you. See how the center part is centered? Right there, where I'm going to take the bolt out. Okay, I don't know if you can really see it moving, but I'm going to show you guys something. This is important because here's a crankshaft from a KD80, okay? See this tip? This is soft. This is a soft material. That is why the torque is only at 36 foot-pounds, okay? There's a little nipple right on the front there. See the indentation? Okay? That is for this tool. Okay? This tool, put it down here. It's like a a live chat tech talk, right? I want to show you this. Has the adjacent, yeah, if you see it out, see it sticking out right there on my forehead. Okay, you can see this little nipple. That little nipple there is designed to fit inside that right there to keep it centered. Okay, very important. Now, the reason why I'm showing you that is because I see a lot of people telling me, Kevin, I don't have that tool, and I really don't want to spend the $15 to buy this tool. You really kind of have to, because this is the correct way of doing it. And then they tell me they got a 2-jaw puller. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that is. This is a 2-jaw puller right here. Okay, this is a good name one too. It's Snap-on. See how it's all flimsy? Okay, and it's rounded on the end. There's like a slight nipple there, but nothing. I mean, it's flat. There's nothing there. Okay, when this goes on there, it walks all around and it goes off centered like that, and it will booger up these threads, and then you're going to have a problem. The other part is how to use something like this. Well, what they do is they stick it in these windows. I'm going to set it up for you guys. These are the common problems, by the way, that I see a lot of, and this is why I wanted to bring them up in this video, because it's very, very important. I see a lot of people messing up their bikes because of these. Yeah, it would. It's not a. They're not designed for this, and it's awful because you can't really pop it off, and sometimes they're even just hard to get in. I'm just trying to get this thing in here real quick. Hold on one second. Having some technical difficulty. Please stand by. Okay, hold on a second. Something like that. All right. Boom, boom, boom.
What's this?
I'm busy. Nope, not right now. Good, that's cool.
It's going forever.
Just give me 1 second. Just trying to assemble this so it works, or the way I believe you guys would be doing it. It's crazy because when you're pulling these things and you're not sure the tool, not knowing could be the worst thing. You know what I mean? So that's why we do this YouTube. Okay. All right. So basically, it would be like this right here on the flywheel, through the windows and grabbing it. This does a couple of things that are bad. Okay. One, you have to stick them into the window to get them. Okay. So what's so bad about putting it through the window like that? Because you take a risk of hitting one of these, and then boom, you're done. At that point, you're done. You're gonna replace. You're not gonna know. You're gonna replace the points. You're gonna replace the condenser, and still no spark. And you go, "What the heck happened? What did I do?" And then you're in the water. You know. So that's one reason. The other reason that this is not going to work out good for you is because the crankshaft, and I'm going back and forth here, I'm sorry guys, it's tapered. See how it's tapered right here? So it's at an angle. When that flywheel sits on that, it is pressed on. So you really need to pull from the center, not from the outer part. I see people whacking these things with a hammer. And if you whack these with a hammer on the outside here to free it up, these magnets are going to crack, split, break, and flake off. And you're going to have a bigger mess on your hands. Okay? So never hit a flywheel with a hammer. Ever. It's never, never, never a good idea. They will break. I guarantee it. And you will not get your flywheel off. And then when you do get the puller, you just did a lot of damage. So, very important. Put in the clutch in my in my 80 KM100. Can't find the carb springs, but have trouble finding The case seal. Where do you? I get mine, Andrew, on eBay. So what I do, I go on to Partzilla. I look up the partzilla.com. They've got an extensive parts breakdown. You literally can, you want to look at your handlebars, it'll blow up your handlebars. You can make it bigger. And all the parts and pieces are numbered, and then on the side, it'll show you what all the part numbers are. And some stuff they actually have in stock, like points. You can get points if they have them. Different things you can get from them, and so you could be able to get seals and O-rings and gaskets if they have them in stock. And it will tell you if it's in stock or not right then and there. Like it'll show you the part number, the description, and then it will say add to cart or not in stock or no longer available. I mean, it's straight up cut and dry. But the cool thing is you have your part number. The part number is gold because a lot of people on eBay have, and this is what I've been finding on eBay, they've been having the part. They'll have the part brand new in the package, and they'll have it in their basement or something. And they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna put this on eBay. I'll put the part number in for a description," and they don't know what the heck it is. It's a washer. And then you look at the part number and go, "Oh, that's not a washer. That's an O-ring, and that's the O-ring I need." Well, when you hold it up to the back, it looks like an O-ring, washer. You get what I'm saying? So use part numbers on eBay because I'll tell you, I've been finding people put stuff on eBay and have no idea what it is. And that is a big, huge help to people like us. Very, very important. Part numbers are key. You can also type them right in the Google search, and oftentimes they'll take you to another site, like what do you call it? I was looking for a light bulb for my LT125, and not on eBay. eBay sold out of stock. Can't find it. I said, wow, that's weird. That light bulb is common. They use it on the GT80s and all that. So what I ended up doing was I just put the part number in the Google search, and guess where I found it? Amazon. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of Amazon. So sometimes things come up on Amazon as well. The key is to do all your research, get all your information, your part number, description, and how they wrote it down. Because I find some things are just like, well, for instance, I was looking for my tack drive, okay? They actually don't call it a tack drive, they call it a pinion. Well, the average person wouldn't know what a pinion is. I knew what a pinion was, but I didn't know it was called a pinion, so that really didn't think opinion, but tachometer. Okay, I can see why they would call it a pinion. So I had to go and type that in there. I put in there tachometer pinion, and then it came up. Different things like that. Also, know your family of bikes. So, like if you're working on the Suzuki TS125, the DS100, the TC100, the TS100, the TS185, 175. These are all in the same family, so many of those parts are interchangeable. Like in your KD80 or your KM100, you get your KE100s, your KM100s, your KD80s. There's a whole big family of them, and that's very important to know the family of your bike. What's the topic on mini bike? Oh, mini bikes, yes. Well, I call it Mini Bike Monday as a title. I don't know if you guys have watched my video. We got a new bike to the family, a CT70, and it's a silver tag. The bike is beat to hell. It's been, they put American bolts. There's a lot wrong with this bike that I got from Harvey Spooner, which is just the way we like it. Being a silver tag, it has a lot of potential, and it's going to need some fabrication work. There's a rod hole underneath the seat I have to fix. It looks like something poked through it. The bike is going to be completely sandblasted and gone through again, just because it's a silver tag, and the fact that the bike needs to be completely restored. There's actually a mouse nest, an abandoned mouse nest, in the gas tank. The bike hasn't ran. Now, Hari had the bike for 25 years in his basement. And he was pretty sure that he hasn't seen that bike, or haven't, didn't think that that bike ran at least 10 years before he got it. So chances are that bike hasn't ran for 35 plus years. Yeah, it's cool. Yep, Mr. Harvey. So it is a great little bike. It needs a ton. I have to get an exhaust system for it. The motor is done. What do you call it there? So the motor has no compression. Yeah, I can hear some clicking going on where the cam chain is, but of course I have to have that one running. So what they did was someone took a giant bolt and stuck it in they drilled out the intake and put a bigger bolt in because the bolt apparently had fallen out of the intake, and all they had was an American bolt. So they forced a big giant bolt into it and made a mess of it. But I'm going to show you guys a really cool way of fixing that without a helicoil. I'm not helicoiling that hole. Oh no. Nope. And I'm going to show you guys how to use a a welding rod for aluminum, and that's how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to clean up the hole, drill it out just a hair bigger to make it a fresh bore. Then we're going to fill it in. We're going to mark it, tap it, drill it, tap it, and then it will take a really nice stud or bolt that's supposed to be there. I believe there's studs on that one. We're going to replace that, and then the head will be fine. Then we're going to go and the intake. I'm trying to find the intake for this thing. I can't find the intake. So what I'm going to do is where they drilled out the intake, I'm actually going to fill the intake back in with aluminum and re-drill it out so it'll take a new one. So we got some cool stuff. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's been a great mentor, and we have been friends for quite a while now, and he's just been a really cool friend. He sends me up his two-stroke stuff that he likes to go through, and it's really cool. I met Harvey Spooner through Musty One. He's another friend of mine, and we call it there. We just connected, and it just worked out pretty well. So pretty neat. We got a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, it's pretty neat. He's got quite the hoard of bikes, and as you guys know, it's an addiction. I also got another mini bike that you guys don't know about. I haven't shown it yet. I'm going to be doing a first look on it. I already looked it over, so I'll tell you what it is. It is a Coleman CT 200U. It's got the racks on it, and it came from a place I used to work at, and it's a nice bike. He said it didn't run, but I'm going to go through all that type of stuff. I put a Kohler Courage starter on it, and it fires right up. So I'm like, oh, I didn't have to do nothing to this bike, just put a starter on it. So there's really not much, there's not really any content on it, but I'm going to do a first look on it anyway. And I'm going to be doing some specials. After I get done Robert's bike, we're going to start doing a mini bike Monday series where I work on just mini bikes on Mondays because I have, I guess 7 mini bikes now. And I got a lot of mini bikes. And it wasn't intended. So for mini bikes that we now have the CT 200U. We have which is a Coleman. We have the what do you call it there? The CT 70, the Z50. We have the what do you call it there? The KB 75, the MT1, the Andrew bike build. So we have a few, and I built a what do you call it? Another KB75 out of parts that I just had hanging around. So it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? A V-twin. There's not enough room on the frame to do that, though. I wish I could. But what I'd like to do, because I don't make no money doing this. So it's one of those things where I'm not really, when YouTube channel gets big, they take the money from the YouTube channel and they dump it into the content, and that's how they get it. And they normally start off with big name people, and that's how they do it. I'm not there yet. I'm working on that. But as soon as I can start getting money, I know that the mount that I need for the clutch that I want to put on it, that's like $60, which I just don't have at the moment. The clutch itself is $60 that I want to put on it. I want to put a CVT clutch. So I'm looking like $120 just into clutches and to do it correctly. The bike, I'm going to do some stuff with the factory engine to get more power, like add a Mikuni carburetor to it. We're going to take the governor off, get rid of the governor, do the Mikuni carburetor swap, and the clutch is really what I want to do to it. They have different stage bikes where you can change out the cylinder head, the connecting rod. I'm not going that crazy with that bike. But I will do the 22 millimeter carburetor swap for the Mikuni, the clutch, and of course to get all the parts and pieces to do it correctly. I was watching another YouTuber, and he used a stack of washers to make up 1 inch. And I don't like doing that, so I'm not going that route. I'm going to get the actual bracket. They make a bracket that fits underneath the motor. It makes it proper, and then it can lift it up that way. And then that'll be then it'll be all correct. I don't have to worry about it. I like doing things, as you guys know, correctly. I don't like shortcuts. They tend to cause problems down the road. So I let the people who design them do them the way they do them. I'll use those parts, and then if I find a better way of doing it, then I'll do it that way, which I have done many, many times. But the initial stuff is already there, which is pretty cool. I don't want to have to weld. I know I'm going to have to cut, but I don't want to weld. Not to the frame anyway. Don't forget the flywheel. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, they definitely don't want to do that. The what do you call it there? They make kits for those. I don't know. I just want to make the bike so it's not. I'm not going over the top of it, Steven. I'm just going to keep the bike kind of stock, but like I said, I want to make sure that the bike is correct. Like I'm not doing they have an exhaust. I'm going to be married to doing the exhaust. I don't want to do the exhaust. I want to keep the quiet exhaust that's on it, but they do make an aftermarket exhaust on it. And if I don't do that exhaust, I'm going to really be taken away from the bike, because the bike with the when I put the Mikuni carburetor on, the exhaust should be done too. So that's what I'm going to end up doing with that. So, but if you go too much performance, then you got to do the whole thing. You know what I mean? So they've got like stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 kits. I mean, you can get, they do the Predator swaps, and I don't want to do a Predator swap. I don't want to put a Predator on it. I'm going to keep the mods on it until, if that goes, then it will get a Predator. I might do a different engine on it later on. Originally, I was going to. I'm like, oh, I could put the MB5 motor on it, the 5-speed. That would be cool. But then I'm looking at the frame, going, I don't really want to do that small 4 horsepower motor in place of a 6.5. It's kind of degrading the bike, Without the governor, it could rev up to 4K. If you let it do that, you can. So, what that said on the, because I've done this before, what I do is I adjust the cable so it can't rev to $4,000. 3,600 is where it's rated for, 3,600. And if you go over that, then you could have, problems with your flywheel and stuff like that. But if you do your throttle cable correctly, which is cutting the sleeve down, you have a little extra line sticking out so that it has, what do you call it there? So the shorter the lead sticking out, the more throttle. The longer the lead coming out, the less throttle. So you can literally put the Mikuni carburetor on it and get that set up to do a 150. Picked up a 1978 PA50 Honda Hobbit for $150. You thief, Jimmy! You're a thief! That is a great bike. I had one. The PA50, it's got the pedals on it. I had the Hobbit and I had the Express. And I got them both at the same place, and I think I paid like $400, $200 a piece. And that was up in the White Mountains when I lived up there. Great bikes. I'm telling you, great bikes. And yeah, fun. You can do some stuff with those too. They you could put the performance head on them from a those little pedal bike motors. Well, you can use the high compression head there. They actually come in anodized colors like green and red and all that. You can put one of those heads on there and get more compression out of them. But you got to make sure you measure your bolt pattern. My dad used to do that. Yep. Yeah, that's the trickery with that. But you can set up that cable, Steven, so you can use your tiny jack and get your whatchamacallit there. You can get your 3,600 RPM at even with the performance carburetor, because that's really all you need. So I mean, you're going to get to a point where you're going to run out of power. And if you're making peak power, but when you put that Mikuni on it, it's going to make power at a different level. But you got to keep in mind what the engine was originally designed for. Yeah, definitely. The I don't have that motor anymore. I don't have those two bikes anymore. Those I got rid of those way before I had this channel, like 15 years before this channel. But I have now. I have a Honda Express 50, the red one. Just a first look on that one. That's sounds a little. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I like the Honda motors on them. I have a Honda 5.5 horsepower. I could throw on it if I wanted to, but it's got a 6.5 on it now. The motor is more of a Kohler Courage motor than it is a Honda. So, and I discovered that because when I had the bike didn't come with a starter on, I had no starter, and I grabbed one of my Honda starters to throw that on there, and it wouldn't work. So I went. I'm like, all right, who makes that cup? I'm looking at the cup, trying to figure it out. I'm like, it looks kind of like the Kohler Courage, the little 6.5. I had one of those on the shelf, pulled the starter off, and bang, it worked great. Wow, 11:32. That's not bad. You'll have to email me some pictures or text me. You can just text them to me too. You're very welcome. Have a good night, Anthony. Yeah, you got a. That's a. I think I got broken in. Just gonna call it again. Yep. Yep. Oh man. Yep. No problem, buddy. Yeah, it's Yeah. So this is a lot of fun, guys. It's a lot of fun doing these bikes. I love them. I just wish this weather would cooperate. It's either like a bazillion degrees out, or it's torrential rain. It's like, what the heck's going on? We luckily, knock on wood, we missed the hurricane, so that was good. But I mean, hey, it's the season, so we're gonna roll with it. That's all we can do. Roll with it, roll with the punches, and duck and weave. But this week, tomorrow night, I'm actually back out in the shed. We're gonna finish off the TS 125, get that carburetor all dialed in and put back together, get that on the bike, and then do a test run on that, get that out of here. And then Robert's bike's going on the lift, and we're just going to have at it. We might do a special on that because I want to get that done quickly. So what I might do is I might do a Yamaha special, I'll call it. I'm not sure really what I'm going to call it yet, but a Yamaha special. And when we do that, it'll be like literally go right through all the systems, because that's really what matters, is going through the bike thoroughly, fixing all the problems, all the little trinkets that are all over the bike, looking at the bike thoroughly through a mechanic's lens. If something don't look right, fix it, make it correct. And that's really what we have to do with that bike. He's got himself a great bike, and it's very important that we do the bike correctly. So, yeah, we're gonna be working on that relatively soon. Just want to get Dave's bike off there, and he wants to come up this week, so I want to get that buttoned up for him, which would be awesome. Earlier, you mentioned the importance of expecting exhaust when tuning bike. Can you talk more on this? Is and why it's important? Yes, absolutely. That is a great one. So everybody goes for carburation. The first thing you think of is carburation when you're tuning a bike. Carburation. What jet? What do I do with the carburetor? How do I set this thing up? How do I adjust it? One of the most misconceptions, and I know I'm talking about carburetors right now, but it works with the exhaust, and you'll see in a minute. One of the first things we do is, Kevin, what is the carburetor setting for the idle mixture screw? And I say it's 1.5. And oftentimes you guys set it to 1.5 and go, Kevin, my bike runs like crap. I thought you said it was 1.5. That is your base screw adjustment for your carburetor. The reason why it's adjustable is so you can turn it in either direction to fine tune your bike. Now we're going to go on to your exhaust part. If your exhaust baffle or your silencer is starting to clog up, that is going to affect the performance of the carburetor, which is why the carburetor is adjustable. So what it is what you put in is what comes out. So exhaust first. Yeah, I'll have exact. So what you put in has to come out, because it's literally like, they call it like an air pump. It's not really like an air pump, but it's close. Okay. So as your exhaust fills up with soot, all two strokes, no matter how tuned they are, make soot. Soot is oil and fuel that get out of the exhaust. It mixes with exhaust and creates like a thick, oily soot, like a grease almost. And as that flows through your exhaust and goes out your tailpipe and as smoke, what happens is particles build up on what they call exhaust packing. As the bike ages, the exhaust packing gets more packed, and then the exhaust has a hard time escaping. So a lot of times people will try to, okay, my bike's running kind of funky. What do I do? Do I adjust my carburetor? So you're over here adjusting your carburetor when in fact your problem you're chasing is actually in back of you at your exhaust. So one of the things that we're going to be actually doing a lot more of on the channel is I'll be showing you guys, when I do these bikes, the exhaust inspection and packing. You will note when you take an exhaust off your bike, you'll feel like, wow, this thing is heavy. Why is this thing so heavy? And then you take a flashlight and you look in there, it's hollow. Why is this thing so heavy? Because on the sides of the exhaust is packing, and it's actually in a mesh. If you look in my modified exhaust, you'll see what it looks like on the modified. I cut the baffles out, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There's a mesh in there, and in that mesh is a packing, and then there's a packing. It's like a packing material. It's like a I don't know how to explain, like an insulation, if you will. That insulation gets what's called packing. That gets what do you call it there? Plugged. When that plugs, your bike is going to smoke more. You're going to have low performance, hesitation. The bike ain't going to want to get out of its way because you're literally choking it out. You know what I mean? And you're doing it from so basically it's a butt plug. You can't fart. So what happens? It comes out as a burp. You know what I mean? Same thing. That's exactly how it happens. So um, each bike is different. So that's why there's an adjustment screw in your carburetor to adjust it, because all packing, all exhaust systems are plugged at a different rate, I guess you call it. So we're going to be getting more into that. Um, Keeping your exhaust clean, your packing, your baffles, making sure that they're not clogged up with carbon. I actually went through and I had my KD80 would not get out of its own way. It just wouldn't get out of its own way. And at first, I thought it was carburation myself, because it feels like a carburetor when the exhaust is plugged. Like, oh, Jesus, really, really bad. And then I noticed my bike was really smoking, like big time. A lot of blue smoke. What the heck is going on? Now, white smoke is typically a bad oil, bad crank seal, or a leaky seal, or a leaky gasket. This was blue, plain as day, oil. I thought my oil was over pumping, and it wasn't. It was because the exhaust was literally plugged up. Once I cleaned out the exhaust, the bike could breathe, and we were good to go. So it's very important to make sure that your exhaust packing, the exhaust baffle, that is not plugged up. On my 1977, the speedo keeps jumping when I got over 25, when I go over 25 miles an hour. A little bit careful, try it again, but no change. Yeah, it could be the you might have a broken tooth on the gear at the bottom there. You have to pull the front wheel off and inspect that. I haven't really ran into too many of those, but the speedometers on those are pretty good. They're pretty decent. What you could do is you could take a cordless drill, do not go full throttle with it, but spin it in a direction that the what do you call it, cable goes in, and then just give it a little bit, and you know, as you squeeze the trigger more and more and more, get and see if it goes up to 25 miles an hour, and then see if the sweep is good. Give that a shot. How do you clean those exhausts? That's another great question. Wow, you guys are really good. Awesome. You're not going to like this. Exhaust cleaning, like I did on my tip, I basically made a fire in the yard in my fire pit, and or you can use a grill. Some people actually hang it up top, and they'll put a propane torch blowing into it, and then that right there cleans them out as well. Couple things to remember is that there is fuel in there. So when you do it originally, like when you first do it, you're gonna go like see like a, you know, it is very common, but you're gonna burn out the soot. Burn out the soot. You can put the typically when you take the baffle out, you can look inside the exhaust with a flashlight, hang that upside down, put a blowtorch into it. As for the baffle, those are harder to clean because they're internal. You can't really get into them. So you can either use your grill at home, or you can put it on your fire pit and just cook it. You're not going to hurt it. So that's what I do. I leave it on there. I cook it until the ash, and then I use compressed air and blow it all out. But yeah, ash. Cook it on there. Get that fire nice and hot. But make sure you remove any O-rings. Sometimes there's an O-ring on there, and remove any packing material that's on it. So when you slide out your baffle, if there's packing around it, take that packing off. Throw that away. For a pack of packing, exhaust packing, which you can get right on eBay, it's like $10, and it's a big sheet of it. So you can use that packing a few times. You're not gonna. It ain't like it's a one-shot deal. If you mess up, you still have enough to do it. I actually did a video on exhaust packing. One of my tools that I use with it is I use a plastic, what do you call it there? A plastic folder, and I cut it and make a cone. So I put it over the packing, slide the whole thing in there, and then I slide the thing out, and it works out pretty decent. Yeah, packing is a very important thing to have done properly because that can make or break an exhaust system. If you take the packing out and you throw it away and then you don't put it back in, you might have to rejet, and because the exhaust is going to be flowing out too fast. So you'll have to adjust and rejet your carburetor. Okay, so that right there could be another problem. If they took the baffle out and your baffle is missing and your bike is having a hard time running, it could be because your jetting is too small. See, if you go up to a bigger jet, you might be able to do that. Some people do remove their baffles. The thing is, you have to jet for that. If you don't jet the carburetor for that and you keep the factory jet, you're going to have a problem. It's not going to run right. So that could be your problem. So if it's missing, that's just as bad as having an exhaust that has clogged packing. So in that case, you would want to rejet and adjust your carburetor. Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to replace it because the bike is really loud without it. But that's what that does. That silences it, quiets it down, but it also puts a restriction on the exhaust. If you don't have a baffle, your baffle's missing, and you get the factory carburetor, you at high RPM you could be creating a lean condition, and that can cause scoring on the piston and other damages. Now, if this was a four-stroke, it wouldn't matter, but on a two-stroke, it definitely matters. It's very important to do that. Yeah, full adjustment. Yep. Yep. That's because at almost at full adjustment, what's happening is without the it's calling for a bigger jet, and when you're almost at full adjustment, what's happening is you're trying to compensate for not having the bigger jet. That's what that's all about. That's why it's doing that. It's saying, hey, I need a bigger jet in here, but I'm almost at full adjustment. We'll compensate a little bit, and we'll do the best we can do. That's what it's telling you. But when you put the baffle in or you change the jet, you'll have to readjust the carburetor to put it back where normal is. Yeah, the exhaust baffle, those are very hard to find, especially one that's not broken. What I would do is I would look on the forum. I have a forum on the what do you call it? On Facebook. It's Kawasaki KE, KM, KD, and all that. There's a few other ones too, but of course mine's the best. Yeah, just kidding. But no, the forum that I have on there, and you can ask anybody if they have an extra exhaust system, and then what do you call it? You'll be able to see if someone will sell you either the baffle or a whole complete exhaust. Chances are they're going to want to sell you the whole complete exhaust because they're not going to want to pull a baffle out, and then the exhaust is worth nothing. So you'll probably end up spending the money to buy the whole entire exhaust, but it is worth it. Or you could just turn around and put the muffler on eBay, which I see people doing too. That's why the mufflers on eBay are all missing the baffles. It's crazy. It's just how they do it. But yeah, they're out there, but you gotta find them, and they'll be in the forums are going to be your best help. So definitely try that. What else is there?
I have a question.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Do I get extra time?
Yeah, dude, it's only 8:20.
Yes, is that yes?
Yes, that's yes. Yeah. Asking me for extra time. Kids. Can't live with them. Kids sell on eBay. Just kidding. But no, seriously, I mean, these bikes, it's really about tuning them so they don't overheat, they don't blow up. I see a lot of bikes, and the first thing they do is take the exhaust off, or they cut the baffle right out, and then I get this question: what jet do I use? Well, it ain't a matter of what jet you use. You have to jet the carburetor, so you have to go through, which I'm going to be doing videos on. And basically, you got to get a jet pack, which has a bunch of jets in it, and then you start off with the bigger jet and a thermal gun, and then you work your way down to it and find out which one runs the bike perfect. Dean, I brought a '79 Yamaha XS650 for $200 from a friend. Just needs a carb rebuild. That is a great bike. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see my old one. I had a gray '79, and I got that from Brandy Brow Junkyard, and I paid $100 for mine. And I will tell you this, that was a great bike. I had to rebuild the top end. It had a stuck valve, and I put maybe 200, $300 into it, and that bike was great. And when I sold the bike for, I think it was $2,800, and I'm kicking myself in the keister because that was a fun bike. I like that bike. I have a Yamaha Virago XV1100, and the XS650 is my favorite bike. Definitely a great bike. Carburetor rebuild. You can literally go to a motorcycle shop with that and send the carburetors to them, and I think it's like $100 to ultrasonic clean them. It's not too bad. I'm going to modify it. Nice. And I don't get the. Yeah, those handlebars that come back, they're just not comfortable. What do you call it there? Yeah, there's so many different handlebars you can put on there. It's a 7/8 bar anyway, so you can just get a whole ton of them. Cool. Yeah, so you'd be good. Ultrasonic clean that bad boy, or just clean them up even with carburetor clean, you'd be good. If you need some parts, I have 180. Cool. Yeah, send me some messages. Yeah, XS650. Okay, so yeah, for him, yeah, that's good. So yeah, so he'll be there you go. Well, the special and the regular XS, they're pretty darn close. So yeah, there you go. Might be able to find some. Perfect. Yeah, so there you go. Guys, good right there. What do you call it there? I'll tell you, the forums are a great place to get parts and really help you guys out with parts and pieces. I don't sell parts anymore. It's been a nightmare with parts shipping from my area. I just got out of I got bins of parts. If people come to the house, I'll sell them parts. I'm not shipping no parts. I don't do that anymore. I'm all done with that. I've got like 40, 50 covers up there. I'm not even putting them online. It's just a pain in the neck. But man, I'll tell you, yeah, parts and pieces of everything. If you can get even some extra parts for your bike, that goes a long way. When you buy parts like coils, for like the XS650, but whenever you get a bike, try to get the stuff that ignition components, carburation, stuff like that, lighting modules, or relays, that sort of thing. Those come in handy. Oh my God, guys, this has been a crazy. I can hear the rain out there now. It's pouring out again. It's like, oh my God. Cool. Now I'm also with Yamaha parts, but thank you though. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to just. If you, I'm like parts overload right now. I have got mill crates of KE100 shocks. I have covers hanging up all over the place, and the problem is, part of me wants to scrap them, but the other part of me says, no, these are vintage parts. You don't want to do that to it, but I'm not going to put them online to sell them. I've got burnt too many times. It's been such a hassle. Um, yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, you've seen it. It's. I got cables. I got wiring harnesses. I got parts everywhere, and I've got a half of a pickup truck out back where it cuts made into a trailer, and that's jam packed with parts. But I got to figure out something because I've got too much stuff, and I just don't know what to do with them all. And if I had someone who had like an eBay store that could sell these things, split the money, and boom. But I'm not shipping anything. I'm not. Yeah, there you go. Rummage sale. But nobody lives around here. That's the problem, Dean. Nobody lives in the Massachusetts area who work on or does anything with these bikes. I would definitely have a rummage sale. I'd put tables out there. Go through it. Make me an offer. How much you want for this? Make an offer. If it's reasonable, done. You know. I mean, it's literally, it's bad. It's bad. I got way too much. Yeah, but all the swap meets around here are Harley Davidson. Like I said, half the people who see my bike, my KEs and stuff like that, are like, oh wow, I didn't know they made that. You know, it's one of those things like, where the hell did you get that? you know, yeah, seriously, it's how it is though. You know, everybody wants the what's that new bike there? That everybody likes the Indian and the Polaris there. You know, the Victory. You know, it's all that type of crap. You know, and it's like, oh, you guys have no taste in bikes, and everybody's riding the same damn thing. What you got? I got a Dana. No kidding. I do too. Yeah. Hey, we got Dana. Huh. Got Dana too. Everybody's got the same damn bike. They're all the same damn color, and everybody who rides a Harley now has to have a T-shirt that says Harley Davidson. It's kind of like that old bag lady who lives down the street. You know the one I'm talking about, who dresses like her dog. It's the same thing. You know, it's the same thing. Not picking on Harley Davidson people, but honestly, if you're trying to be badass, you don't want to be wearing a T-shirt that says Harley Davidson on it. You know, be unique. Yeah, oh yeah, they are definitely overpriced. I can't believe how expensive they are. Even the perks that you get by owning a Harley Davidson is not worth owning a Harley Davidson. And I had one. What do you call it? They sold it to my brother, and he loves it. He's a Harley Davidson guy. He likes the sound. It was a '89. How was it there?
Dad, with
What?
volume 4 good, did you hear the music in my room?
No, you're good.
So volume 4 is fine.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. Um, he called it a hell was it there? I forgot the model. I didn't even have it long enough to remember. It was like a street glide, but it was had a 1340 Evo on it, and he had two other Evos. So and he loved the bike the minute he saw it. So you know what? Take it. FLH. That's what it was. FLH, and he rides the shit out of that bike, which I'm happy for. But yeah, they are. What color bike? What color bike you got? I got a black one. No kid. Me too. They're all the same color. They all have. Oh, I blacked out the engine. Yep. What kills me about the Harley Davidsons? Just follow me on this, okay? How much for the bike? 30,000. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. So they'll go and they'll buy the bike, 30 grand. Great. Now they get the thing home. What's the first thing they do? Let's take the exhaust off. Let's take the seat off. Let's put some forward controls on this thing. So next thing you know, they're putting 5 grand into a bike. They take all the stuff off of it and throw it away. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you just spent $30,000 on a bike, and they'll see another bike that has like Screaming Eagle pipes, and they'll put those on the bike. It just it's just like wow, If you bought an older bike and you wanted to put a different exhaust on it, that's one thing. But a brand new bike right out of the showroom and you're gonna take it home and take the exhaust off of it. It's been a while since I've been able to. Wow, my CB350 was my first bike. Yes, that is a great bike. Um, I'll tell you a couple of things about the CB350. Mine was gold with black stripe. I had that. That was my first bike I had when I was 16. My first motorcycle, I should say. My first bike was a KD80, but my first motorcycle on the road was a CB350. And with a slight modification to the frame, I was able to squeeze in a CB360 motor onto it. They look almost identical. The CB360 has a 6-speed. But I did that later on. And I will tell you this. The charging system on that bike sucks. If you go and you contact, what do you call it there? Rick's Motorcycle Enterprises, they can build you a better charging system. It literally is a terrible charging system. They want you to ride that bike at some high RPM to charge the battery. Your lights will be dim at night, even with LED. LED sometimes they'll kick out because the voltage is so low. That's the downside to that bike, the lighting. If you replace the, what do you call it there? If you do LED directionals, you're going to have to put on ballasts. Those ballasts take up a lot more electricity than running regular incandescent bulbs. So be careful with that. I ran into that problem with that bike. It is a great bike. I tell you, I've taken it through the White Mountains. I have put thousands of miles on that bike, and I trouble-free mileage. They have dual points, and they make an CDI ignition for it. And when you do that CDI ignition conversion, okay, there is a problem. Your electrical system can't support it. So it breaks up. It has problems. So I was always going through batteries. Do not buy an acid-filled battery. Get an AGM battery. The sealed ones, Houston, you're gonna love it. You'll thank me for buying that battery. Just don't buy the liquid-filled one. Buy the AGM battery. It holds more. It has more power. You're gonna love it. And put on converting my 650 to electronic ignition. Dean, that's a good idea. The 1981 had electronic ignition. You don't even have to buy a retro kit. You could just buy it for the 1980, and that came with it. So if you can find 1980 XS 650, mine had electronic ignition right out of the gate. Yeah, good. Yeah, make sure it has the AGM battery, and call Rick's Motorcycle and see if they can build you a what do you call it? They might even have them already there. A voltage regulator, and they can rewind your stator for you, and they put thicker, heavier windings on it. And I think I was getting like 10 amps out of it, and it was perfect. It's perfect. Yep, they make a drop and kick. Yep, exactly. Yeah, the 81 ignition. Yep, that's it. 81. And boom, you'll be good to go, and you will have a points ignition are great. They will get you home. If you break down with points, you can clean them up with a file, and most of the time get them home. They're great. The problem is trying to find a good set of points nowadays is terrible. And when you have as many bikes as I do, if I had to buy points every other year for my bike, you're talking almost $1,000, literally almost $1,000. If all the bikes I converted over to CDI, if I didn't do that, I would have been crazy. Can I put a 76 km 100 jug or cylinder on what? What bike are you talking about, Jimmy? You could put, you mean like on a KE? So some of those bikes are interchangeable, some are not. So like the KM 100 is not, cylinder is not interchangeable with a KE. You can put if you had a, what do you call it there? The KM and what do you call it there? The KM and the KD 100 uses the same cylinder. No, no, because the exhaust port on a KE is in the middle, and on the KM it's on the right side. So that's going to be a problem. And the exhaust pipe itself on the KM is smaller diameter than the KE. Yeah, they're not interchangeable. You could if you're going to put the say you want to put the KM 100 motor on your bike, you still have to use the KE 100 cylinder on that bike. You can use the engine, you just can't use the cylinder. You'd have to swap them over. Same piston, same rings, all the same stuff. You just have to swap, the cylinders. And if the cylinder is cast iron, you can hone them or just bore them. If they're aluminum in this scoring, you have to renicosile. You don't have to bore them. You send them out and they'll renicosile it, and it fills in all the scoring. A lot of people have them rebored. You don't have to rebore a nicosile cylinder. They can just check it and code it, and you're good to go. Yep, perfect. Yeah, sometimes it's just better to clean them up. I do that on the channel. I'm sure you saw on what do you call Alvin's bike and Aaron's bike. I did theirs and got theirs all nice and straight and plumb and all that, and got that all nice and dialed in. A lot of great bikes have come across this channel. Yeah, a lot of great bikes have come across this channel. Very, 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 very neat. I'm very lucky to have the bikes come through that have come through. Yep, Millennium Technologies. Yep, they're a good company. Good company. They do a good quality job. Oh man, I'm tired, guys. It has been a hell of a week. It really has, and it hasn't even started. It's Monday. The rain. Oh man, jeez. You know how much. Hold on 1 second. What's this say? Yeah, getting rid of a bike is never easy, especially for me. I can't do it. Well, you came to the right place. Like I said, I had my CB for since I was 16, and I've had it for I want to say I got rid of it when I was 37. I have built that bike several times over. That was a great bike. Like I said, mine was gold, and I love mine. I do Hondas too, believe it or not. I do the big four: the Suzuki, the Yamahas, the Kawasaki's, and the Hondas. Nice, 50-50. Nice, cool. That's good. That's a good size. That's why I did my what do you call it there? My KE 102 build, which I'm still working on. You haven't even had a chance to do it. Nice. That's not bad. Look at it. Yep. Suzuki's are a great bike, and depending upon the years, they had a lot in common with Kawasaki's, and well, I showed you guys a lot of the same stuff that they use. There's a lot involved with Suzuki and Kawasaki. Those two have been buddy buddy for a long time. In fact, Suzuki actually made some Kawasaki bikes, like the Kawasaki, what do you call it, the KDX 50. That's actually a Suzuki. And that motor is, what do you call it, there, on my son's, the Andrew bike build. How you doing, John? Yeah, it's been great, So that's a good, that those are, they build some good stuff, and it's really nice to have them in the on the channel. KE, let's see. Yep, AC 100 cab. A lot of stuff is in common, a lot, and I've been bringing this to light too on the channel, and it's helped out a lot of people. It really has. A lot of people have been like, "Wow, I didn't know that would work on that bike." Oh, yeah, it's the same thing, same part. And they're looking at me like, "Wow, how long have you been doing this for?" I know how long you said you've been doing it for, but really, how long have you been doing it for? And it's funny because, I have been doing it for a very long time, and I see a lot of bikes. I'm involved with so many bikes and bike builds, and you go through them, and you know, yeah, they are great carburetors. I mean, Mikuni has been around for 100 years. Same thing with the oil pumps. People tell me, "Oh yeah, my oil pump is junk. I'm taking it off." It's junk. I just need to be bled out. I haven't seen a bad one. I mean, I have seen a bad one. It over oiled. It's not if that's the problem, I'll take it. I'd rather have it over oiled than under oil. Yeah, they do. They work fine. It's a Mikuni. It's a Mikuni oil pump. So, if you trust the carburetor, not the oil pump, come on. Well, it freaks people out because they're not used to seeing something like that. Like on a 4-stroke, they don't have that. But, what really blows my mind is this. When it's on a 4-stroke, nobody ever thinks about the oil pump inside of a 4-stroke engine. Ever. Never. Nobody. How do oil pumps? Oh, I need a new oil pump for my motor. Why do you need a new oil pump? Oh, I don't know. I can't tell if it's pumping on. It's the same thing with the 2-stroke pump. It's just external, not internal. The first thing they want to do is get rid of it, Doesn't make sense. Brian? It is. Yeah. Well, I didn't do it that way. I made a special tool for priming them. I took a 3/8 adapter from my cordless drill and cut a slit in it. I undo the pump, put it on the back of it, spin it in the direction that it goes in, and wind it up. And then as I bleed it, I just watch the oil flow through the clear line all the way to the injector where it goes into the motor, bolt it on. I'm currently building a roller. Started getting too old to kick. There you go. A roll starter. Interesting. Getting too old to kick, John. How old are you, John? If you don't mind me asking. I don't know if I could. I have to. I have to kick them. I enjoy kicking them. But I have done it the other way where I did the frog hop. No, I always kick them. If I sometimes I side kick them. No, I won't get on the bike. I'll get on the side. Well, you saw how I do them. You grab that kicker and give it to it. I did make a mistake one time, though. I'll tell you guys a bad story, a real bad story. Before I was married, I was, living up in the up in the White Mountains there. And I was working on a bike. I didn't have obviously the lift table at the time, but I had a wooden one that you roll the bike up onto and set up there. How you doing, James? And I took the starter, the Kickstarter, and I wanted to see if it had compression. I didn't know the bike was on. And I pushed down on it. Well, it kicked back. I will tell you, my forearm right here swelled up. I mean, it looked like Popeye. I could not bend this arm. All right here was black and blue around my elbow. My forearm swelled up. I didn't break it. I had X-rays. I severely sprained it, and I tore it up. And I was in a sling for like 6 weeks. I'm not even kidding you. It was awful, awful. Just because I took a starter and kicked it down like that by hand, and I didn't have enough. It was ready to go. It didn't even stop, but man, it kicked and backfired, and holy crap! Let me tell you something. That was the worst pain I think I've ever been in. Don't ever do that with a starter. If you're gonna kick it, kick it. If you're gonna push it down, to see if it turns over, make sure the ignition is off. Because if it is on and you push down that starter, you're gonna feel it. Especially if you don't hit it hard enough. So that was the worst I've ever had. And never, ever again. Yeah, I've done so much crazy stuff with bikes. Building them, riding them. Never wiped out, never laid a bike down. I laid a mini bike down once. I had a regular mini bike, with a Bridge Stratton motor on it. And I was coming on my street, coming around the corner, and there was a set of little tiny, little tight red wheels from like a xylophone thing, and I hit those and dumped it. Didn't get hurt or nothing, but that was the only time I dumped a bike. Had the Kickstarter on a BSA 440. Oh, yeah. Yep. My brother kicked over he had a 69 or 67 Harley and kicked it over and blew out his knee. You got to make sure you kick it, you bring it down slowly onto compression and then kick it. Man, I'll tell you, some of that stuff is really, that can mess you up. These YouTube videos on stuff like that. KX100. Oh, great bike. Great bike. I love the KX100. That is a stupid fast bike. That bike is an animal. Jimmy, that is a good bike. That is a good bike. No, they're not really super hard to kick, but if you don't catch them right, they'll knock you over. They will definitely knock you over. The thing is, when you bring the Kickstarter down on these big bikes, you got to bring them down until it's on compression. Then you go slow with them so they don't try to start or anything like that. You just kind of wind them up on the compression. Then when you get the bike on compression, you get on it. You put everything you own behind it, and that spins and kicks the motor over. But if you kick it the way it is and it's not on compression stroke, it could kick back and it will hurt you. Yeah, the compression, exactly. KE 1989. Oh, Jimmy, that's a great bike. Great bike. 89 KE 100. So where are you located, Jimmy? I got too many KEs. I got my KDE 100. I got my which is a bike that I made. Actually, it's a KDE 90. I made a 90cc. Oh my God, I got too many bikes. Too many bikes. I got to finish that one off. That bike is awesome. I love that bike. I made a flywheel for that thing out of a AC.
Dad,
What, buddy?
it's almost time to end the live chat.
Yeah.
8:53.
I know. Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome.
My little guy. Tell me it's almost time to go on your live chat. I know. We got a few minutes left. But yeah, no, I get so many bikes. It's just unbelievable. I'm actually building a rack for my mini bikes to go on top. When you end up with as many bikes as I got, it can get over it can get overwhelming. Down Pierre. Nice. How you doing, Tom? There you go. So that's not too old to kick a bike over. 69. You're young. Kicking a bike over. That's what you got to do. Especially these bikes right here. You stand right on them. But that would be cool to make a roll starter for them, though. That would be. I'd be interested in seeing that. You know, John, that right there wouldn't be a bad video to make. I need to come up with a luggage rack for the key. Oh, for the KE 175. I've actually got a 175 here. Um, Racks for those bikes aren't too bad to build. Okay, yeah, so you're a little too far away from me. I might have been interested. I can't make that type of commute right now. I gotta get tires for my truck and all the projects, man. I'm looking at the stuff going, oh my god, everything I make from YouTube is just gone. Oh, it's just crazy. I should start a GoFundMe page for my my YouTube channel. I see all these things. These people are like, oh yeah, you can do a what do you call it? A Patreon. I'm not doing a Patreon account. We're not. I mean, we're not to that point. You know, I'm not even when I do get to that point. I'm not gonna do that. Patreon accounts. I see these YouTubers. Sometimes you just take it too far. You know, like we're just a bunch of guys hanging out building bikes. That's what we do. You know, I'll go crazy with stuff like that. I see. They're putting join buttons on there now, so you're paying for content. What the heck's with that? Candy. I'm working on that. I haven't actually been able to go out into the. You asked me about that the other day. I haven't been able to get out into the what do you call it there? Out into the shed because it's just been pouring out. It's just been crazy. I got to move the stuff out so I can work on the bike that's in there because I got so many bikes out there. I did put a power jet on my KE 102 build, but I know you can put them on. It's just a matter of doing them, and I will do a video on that if you wanted to put one on there. Um, I'll probably get that out by the end of next week. I'll get that on there. Cool. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Yeah, it's crazy. We should start up a moving bikes around. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, moving the bikes around. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Man, I tell you, the shipping on bikes is crazy too. Yeah, well, trying to find shipping, that's when it's expensive. The shipping, they'll probably cost as much as the bike. The VM26 is a lot different than. Yeah, I know. I have I have one on the other bike there. Yeah, another model. You have the VM26. The what do you call it there? You can do it to it. I'll have to show you how to do it. It's a little bit of a modification, but it's not over the top. You can easily do it. Oh, who's that? Vito, VITO, makes universal what you call it there power jets. In fact, I have a video on that. They have the power jet for mine. It's an adjustable power jet, which is the one I want because you can you can fine tune your power jet. So it's basically a jet that's variable. You can make it a lot or you can make it a little, and that would be awesome. Which is what I have on my my KE 102 motor, which I haven't got a chance to finish yet. That's the bike motor I made into a 10-speed. Well, guys, it is 9 o'clock here, so I'm going to let you guys go. It would be I will get the. Yeah, I'll show you the one I have. You can look at my video there for that on the KE 102 build, and I'll show you how I would do it. There's other ways of doing it too.
Dad,
I know it's 9 o'clock. I'm
can
getting
I
up.
have extra time for bed?
Yeah, you can have until 9:45.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
So, guys, I'm gonna cut it here. I want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me on Mini Bike Monday. Just once again, that's what I call them.
Maybe like Monday
Yeah,
now.
Mini Bike. Well, because I didn't do a 2-show Tuesday, so. But I just want to say once again, guys, thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next week. I'm not sure what day I'm going to do it next week. It has been a what do you call it? Yeah,
What is he?
it's been great. So I really don't know what day I'm going to do it on because we get so much stuff going on, depending upon the weather. But I'm going to try to mix it up on the days and stuff like that because I want to make sure that you guys and others can get on there. So hey, go enjoy your time, okay, bud?
Okay.
All right. So just kind of mixing it up. This right here was requested that they don't get to see the what you call it there on Monday. On Mondays, and they miss it and everything else. So I just want to make sure that I try to make it so everybody has a chance to be part of this group because that's what we do, guys. Right? We're in this together. So working on bikes, and next week I'm going to have a different topic other than ignitions. I'm not bringing it up again for the next couple times. I'm only doing it because I get so many questions on it, and I see so many problems. Everybody's going after ignition and carburetor. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about something totally different, and I'll pick a topic for that. Hopefully that everybody is into. Might do something on lighting or something, anything but flywheels and stators. Because wow, ignitions just I get. You wouldn't believe the amount of emails I get on ignitions. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't do Apple. I have what do you call it there? Android, which is huge. But you can email me or you can text me. You can do that too. You got my number before I go. That's my phone number. Just when you text me, just make sure you put on there who you are because and what we talked about because I get literally a ton of messages, and if I don't message you back, most likely I fell asleep. It's just how I can't all hours of the night. I pretty much shut down at 10 o'clock, and then after 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I exit and then pick it up tomorrow. So. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm out.